I don't even know if I could get through this, man. Man, that's an excellent question. I don't even know if I can get through it without losing it. I don't. You got me, man. You got me. I don't even know if I can do it, man. It's tough, man. You're gonna have to edit this out. It's a long pause.
Are you ready to become the dad you were meant to be? Good, because this is the Epic Dad Legacy Podcast, where imperfect actions are better than perfect ideas, promises kept are more important than promises made, and nothing happens unless you make it happen. My name is Drew, father of three, and founder of the Epic Dad Company. My mission is to help dads up their game and become the husbands, fathers, and men they are called to be. We need epic dads now more than ever. And it is your responsibility and obligation to become the best father you can be and show your kids what is possible. Listen in for weekly tips, strategies, and actions you can take to go from average dad to epic dad. Thanks for listening. Now let's start the episode.
Joey, what's up, man? Welcome to the podcast.
Well, what's going on, man? I'm happy to be here, dude. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and also your flexibility. I know I rescheduled on you once or twice. Entrepreneurship, man, it's crazy.
Yeah, dude, I get it, brother. I'm right in the trenches with you, so no need to apologize, man. Shit gets crazy. So yeah, man, I just said, so literally, guys, listen, like Joey literally joined on this like 5 seconds ago, and I said, all right, dude, fuck it, let's press record, let's go. So coming in fresh, right? So Joey, tell folks, listen, like who are you, what do you do, and then I'd love to dive into some business stuff, some dad stuff.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Joey. I'm co-founder of Few Will Hunt. Few Will Hunt started as a community in 2017 and a counter movement, really, and then morphed into a clothing company. Nowadays, a lot of people know us for our clothing, but we're really community first. That's our roots. Before Few Will Hunt, I was in technology. Actually, I was building custom software. So
no
a little bit of a phase shift. I was always a builder and a creator.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the path, the trail that I've always followed. And it's brought me to Few Will Hunt and given me the opportunity to create something really beautiful, a community of hardworking people that support and inspire each other. And I'm also a proud father of two.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm curious to know what type of software stuff are you doing?
Oh, man, I did everything. So most of my work was in pharma for many years, and I did not enjoy it for a bunch of different reasons. So then I moved into building software for cosmetics. Then I moved into building software for machine calibration. Then I moved into building software to market magazine subscriptions, believe it or not, working for the largest subscription agency in the US. And that opportunity gave me the ability to work with the largest youth leadership organization in the States, the Girl Scouts of America.
Yeah.
So I worked building software for their cookie sale, believe it or not.
No kidding.
for many years. So yeah, that was really amazing. I cherish that, especially having, two daughters that are Girl Scouts as well.
Yeah. How old are your girls?
8 and 5.
Okay, you're right around the same as me then. Yeah, I'm 8 and 6, and then I've got a boy that's two and well, he'll be 3 in March. Yeah, we went for the third, man. I thought for sure I'm gonna have 3 girls, and boom, all of a sudden it's blue, So we're trying to figure out what the heck to do, with the boy, because we're used to girls all the time. So
yeah. Well, you think you got to figge it out, and then you get the curveball, man. But it's for a reason.
Yeah, well, Joey, man, I've followed Few Will Hunt for a while. Like I've been, a follower of Bedros, love his content, all the stuff that he's putting out, and know he's into investing in businesses and things like that, right? So I've kind of known a little bit about Few Will Hunt, but I didn't know who the founders were. I didn't know anything about you, and I went to the BK Live event with really no intention, like just, hey, I need to be around some cool people, and you on stage, man, gave a talk about building community, but that's not what stuck out to me. What stuck out to me was when you talked about your family, and when you talked about your girls, and when that happened, and listeners of this show will definitely let you know, but like every time we talk about girl dad shit, I start crying, dude. I can't fucking help it. And And you almost got emotional on the stage, man. And I was like, dude,
Yeah.
that's somebody that gets it. Like, I need to connect with Joey and just talk about family, the importance of it, man. And yeah, just have you on the show, dude.
Yeah, I had a couple meaningful connections that came from there, and
Mm.
you were one of them. And they just all happened to be girl dads as well. But yeah, I mean, that was like in the talk that I gave. That was the opening. It was really a business, business marketing focused kind of talk. In the beginning, I spoke about my girls, my wife, because they were there with me. I brought them with me so they could see it. And you're right, I almost lost it. Like I had to bring the nose back up on the plane so I could continue on for the rest of it. And I fully knew that was going to happen because, like you said, like when you really feel it in your heart, and your biggest goal in life is to be there for them, it just comes out of you, man.
Yeah.
It just can't you can't hold it back.
Yeah. No, you can't, man. And like I said, folks that listen to the show often will know that I'm a big softie. Um, I'm a big army dude and vet and all this shit. And then we start talking about dad stuff, and I'm just like, can't help it, man. Just tears come
Yeah.
scrolling down. But well, dude, I would love to having you on today. One, I want to talk a little bit about the business side too. Like, it's not a
Mhm.
business show, right? But like, I think us as fathers, whether it is in our business or in the business that we are a part of, like, we want to be top performers, and we want to
Mhm.
go and get after it so that we can provide for our families. Because that's number one. That's like baseline of being a dad. Is like you have to provide, right? So I'd love to talk a little bit about the business side. And then two, I'd love to talk a little bit about as you're growing the business, and again, applicable to guys that don't even have a business or just growing in their career, is like, what does that
Mhm.
balance look like between, hey, I'm doing this for my family, but at the same time, like, because I'm doing this, I'm so busy, I feel like it's taking away from the family. So I'd love to dive into those couple areas.
Hey man, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's shoot.
Yeah, we'll talk to you about the genesis behind Fuel Hunts, like what started it, what was kind of the concept behind it? Because you mentioned it was a community, really kind of an anti-culture community. So like, what is it based off of?
Yeah, like a counter movement. So,
Yeah.
um, in 2017, my cousin Drew and I spent pretty much every day on the phone. He's 10 years younger than me, so he was about to cross some bridges in like life and business that I had already crossed. So we would kick it really on the phone, like on our commutes to and from the offices. And one thing that we quickly realized was that society was changing. There were two things that we were seeing happen in society that made us feel alone. They aggravated us, but mainly they made us feel alone. Like there weren't many people like us left. And that was people were becoming more and more entitled to things that they didn't earn. And the second thing was that people were looking for more and more shortcuts on the way to their goals. So, people were reaching their goals, but they were so ill equipped when they got there because they took a shortcut that they couldn't sustain it.
Mm.
Right. So, we were seeing those two things over and over again. And, you know, I, Drew asked me, he was like, look, like, are we the only two people that really still believe in the power of hard work? And that was the moment when I said, everybody wants to eat, but few will hunt, because that's something that we used to
Such a
say
good
in my
saying, dude.
cabin.
Yeah, such a good saying.
Yeah, right. We would say it at my cabin because we're actually out there bow hunting,
Yeah.
right? So it's like celebration of the hunt, self-reliance, like things like that. But it was so applicable to the situation. The fact that what we were seeing in society was everybody wanted to win, nobody wanted to work. Everybody wanted the results.
Hmm.
Nobody wanted what was required for the results, right? So like, you know, everybody wanted a fit body, a healthy business, a great career, great family, whatever, but they weren't willing to put in the work. So we said to ourselves, we're like, you know what? We're going to go find more people like us so we don't feel alone. And we're also going to put society back on track with this group of people that we bring together.
Hmm.
So apparel was never, Drew was in the promotional marketing business, but apparel was never really like the goal. It was bringing the people together.
Yeah.
Then, once we started to assemble the few, they started asking for apparel. And we were like, okay, this makes sense. Like if we really want to make an impact, we want to really like take a run at this thing, at this culture, you know what I mean? Of entitlement, shortcuts, victim mentality. We're going to need to grow this thing. And in order to grow it, we're going to need money.
Hmm.
So with the community asking for apparel, everything kind of just like snapped together. And but for 2 straight years, man, that was 2019. For 2 straight years, from 17 to 19, we built community.
Yeah.
We just brought people into the movement. That's it.
Yeah, dude, I love that, man. It like, so I mean, that's why. So two things about your talk, like, yeah, drew me in. One was obviously, about fatherhood and the impact and like what we want to do, and leave our legacy. But the other one was around community.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is the best brands are built around community, right? And taking a stance, planting our flag in the ground, and actually standing for something, and like being a rallying call, to people that have a similar mindset. And it doesn't even matter what the product is, right? I mean, it does. Like, it needs to be a good product and have utility and things like that, right? But they're
Mm-hmm.
not coming to you for t-shirts. Like, they can get a t-shirt anywhere.
Yes.
It's like they're coming to you because they feel part of that mission.
Yeah.
And I was drawn to that because that's the exact same thing that we're building.
Yep.
At Epic Dad Company is like we have these 9 brand beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of our rallying call, and like this is what we stand for. And like if you are a dad that believes this, like we're for you.
Yep. Yep.
And that just drives such like mass momentum into a movement. And then business becomes much easier, I think, when you have that view on it, as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
like what's a market opportunity that I can just go expose. It's like
Yeah,
starting with people first.
exactly. Yeah, people first. I mean, that's how we did it. We knew our purpose and we knew our people. The product and the profit came later.
Mhm.
And nowadays, or many people, maybe it's just not nowadays, but many people, they start the other way around. Profit, product, people, and then, oh, this is why I'm doing it.
Mhm.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's a game of like, I want to make a shit ton of money, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I want to make a shit ton of money. What can I sell to do it? Who's going to buy that thing? Oh, and by the way, this is why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Like, when you use community marketing or you build a community, you start in the reverse.
Yeah.
This is why we're here. This is who we are. Here's something that will add value to your life and something we can all rally around. And then there will be an exchange there at the end
Mhm.
of dollars for that thing.
Mhm.
And those dollars go right back to the beginning of the chain.
Mhm.
This is why we're here. Let's find more people that are like us. And then the cycle continues.
Yeah.
That's for like when apparel came on the scene for us, it was snatched up. Like, we couldn't keep it in stock. We
Mhm.
still can't
I'm
keep it in
sure.
stock.
Yeah.
And that's because, I mean, you go to the site, stuff sold out. I get emails all the time. Stuff sold out, or, it's reserved. So it's 2 weeks shipping time, right? Because it's pre-order. When you help people become something bigger than themselves, or be part of something bigger than themselves, and you help them belong, and you help them make meaning in their life and create an identity, that is life-changing stuff. That's what changes the world.
Mhm.
And it all starts from community.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. So I mean, we can table this towards like when we press unrecord, but
Yeah.
like we haven't even touched apparel yet, right? Like I have some t-shirts because I suck at designing, and all it says is just like, do you even dad bro, or like whatever, and like they sell
Yep.
like crazy, and I'm like, we haven't even like done anything with it, but it's because of that identity, right? It's people want to like
Yeah.
identify with that, and like you said, be part of something that's bigger than themselves. So we can
They
table
know.
that. I'd love to understand apparel a little bit better.
Yeah. Plus, they understand what you guys stand for, because
Mhm.
you have those 9. We have the rules of the few, and there's 11 of them. You
Yeah.
have your 9 pillars. Like, that's what they feel when they wear that.
Mhm.
Somebody else, it happens all the time. People jack our shit all the time, and they put
Yeah.
"Comfort is a Slow Death" on a t-shirt, but it doesn't mean as much. There's
Mhm.
no energy in that fabric. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because there's no identity. It's somebody that's more concerned about the profit and the product than they are the purpose and the people.
Mhm.
So yeah, even if it just says, "Do you even dad bro?" They're wearing it because they get it. They're
Yeah.
they're one of you. They're in your community.
Yeah, and I want to bring some of our brand values into the conversation, because you said you have
Yeah.
11, kind of pillars for Fuel Hunt, and I imagine they align pretty closely. And what I think this will get to is our missions are very much aligned,
Mm-hmm.
right? And even though there's kind of different wrapping paper on it, the mission is very much aligned in that, like, we as men and as fathers need to do a much freaking better job at being intentional leaders of our home, right? Because and I'll talk culture all day long. I've got stats pulled up here, but like,
Yeah.
you know, the we have an epidemic in this country, and it's not poverty, it's not homelessness, it's not drug use. Those are all secondary factors. But when you look at the root cause, it goes to fatherlessness,
All
right?
those homes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what we
Mm-hmm.
want to do. Like, we want to change that stat, at the end of the day. And that's our
I
mission.
love that.
But one of our brand beliefs, and you'll love this, is you can't be upset at the results you don't have from the work you haven't done.
Yep.
Right. And just speaks directly to that, right? And that's part of our problem as fathers is we're leaving our fate up to somebody else. Right. And we need to take ownership, we need to take responsibility, and we need to freaking work hard, man. At the end of the day, you're gonna have to work hard, and you need to understand that, and yeah, we had to do the last 30 or 40 years have just totally shifted that culture.
Mm-hmm.
But we're starting to see, brands like you, like Epic Dad Company, kind of start to really get that message across, and it resonates.
This is how it's going to change. By what you're doing, by what we're doing, this will be the change. I sent an email out the other day. I said, be the change you want to see in the world.
Mm.
And it sounds great. And it sounds, foo-foo and all this other stuff, but it's real shit. Our movements and our communities will cause the shift back to what it was 30 or 40 years ago. I love that brand belief that you have. I have this is just like a personal one. That's a summary of that. Don't expect the perks if you haven't done the works.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't expect them. There's no circumventing hard work. There's no circumventing.
Yeah. So obviously hard work is part of the equation, right? For success and understanding that. How do you square that with, I've got 2 girls, 8 and 5, and if I wanted to, I could probably work 27 hours in a day, right? And still not get everything done. So how do you square that, to being an intentional present father?
Yeah. So, I've done that. So with my first daughter, early on, this is pre-Fuel Hunt.
Yeah.
I wasn't a great husband. I wasn't a great father because I wasn't there. I was working 27 hours a day. You know what I mean? And my daughters, both of them were in daycare from 2 months forward. So I lived that life already. I know what that looks like. So when 2020 hit, things got a little weird. I did some self-reflecting. And I was like, at that point, our youngest was 1, right? Cecilia was 1. And I felt the difference. I was home with her, with both my daughters. I felt the difference of the time that I was spending with her when she was 1 versus the time I spent with Everly when she was 1, when I was working 27 hours, running around like a fucking maniac. And I said, I've got to make a change. And it just so happens, right? I don't really believe in coincidence. I think everything happens for a reason. Sounds cliche until you actually reflect on it. It was a precipice for us with Fuel Hunt. We were growing. We had apparel on the scene. And I had the opportunity to say, I will leave a very good job. I was killing it. I will leave a very good job and I will take this massive risk and do more hard work to make sure that, number 1, I can be more intentional with the time that I do have with my daughters. And number 2, I can set them up not for an easy life, but for a life where they can choose their hard. Because I don't want them to have an easy life. I just want them to be able to choose their hard and not have it thrusted upon them as much as it was thrusted upon me, right? So a little bit of a backstory, but how do I square it? I mean, I'm very, very, very intentional with my time. I do 3 things. I am a father, Fuel Hunt, and jiu-jitsu. That's it. Everything else has fallen away, man. Everything. Not just vices like drinking or anything like that. I'm sober now, but enjoyable things like sports. I was a big sports fan. I love to play sports too. That's fallen away for now. So it was much, how I square it is very much a addition by subtraction. I let everything else fall away so I could be super intentional with my daughters. And I incorporate them into what's going on here at HQ. So if they're off from school or over the summer, I bring them here with me. And, I don't put them to work every time. They help Caroline bag and tag sometimes, put some stickers on bags. But I let them run around and I let them watch what we're doing. Sometimes they're here when I'm doing shows like this. So I bring them into my world. as much as I can.
Yeah, dude, I want to pull on two threads on that. So one is the similarity between our stories, and I think it's probably a lot of dads out there, probably with young kids. Was COVID was such a eye opener. Like I was in the office 5 days a week. I'd leave at 4:30 in the morning. I'd get home at 7:30, put my kids to bed. That was it, right?
Yep.
And I thought I was being a good dad, right? I was right for what I had. Like
You
I
were
was,
providing.
yeah,
You were
I was
providing.
providing, and for those 30 minutes a day I had with my kids, I do bath time, I do bedtime. That was it. I was there, I was present, I was intentional with them. But then all of a sudden, flip the switch, and I'm working from home 24/7, and I was like, holy shit! I was like, I am missing their entire lives, right? Like
Yep.
everything. And that was just such an eye opener to me of not necessarily that like and this is different strokes for different folks, and people are at different varying degrees of their business. But it wasn't like, all right, I'm gonna quit and like go all in on something. But for me, it was like, okay, I just need to structure my time to be much more intentional with my children, right?
For sure.
And so that has happened. And I want to pull in the thread too of like you've addition by subtraction. Agree 100%, man. I am the biggest Braves fan in the world. I have not watched a Braves game in probably 3 years.
Yeah. I still have wounds from what David Justice did to us in like
Oh
the
shit,
90s.
David Justice. What's your team? Because you're up in where you at?
Phillies.
You're okay. You're
I'm
Phillies. Okay.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phillies. Yeah. I still have. We had a rivalry going on in the
Yeah,
90s,
man.
man.
It was.
Crazy.
Yeah,
It
we
was
had
really
a
bad.
yeah, dude. We 90s were good for the Braves, bro. I mean, we had Maddox,
Yeah.
Glavine, Smoltzy,
Yeah.
David Justice, Andrew Jones. I mean, it
Yep.
was quite the lineup
You were
for sure.
stacked, man. Yeah, you were stacked. Yeah. But I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the wound just came. The wound just spoke, dude. You know what I mean?
No,
But you're
well, the most recent wound from the Braves that I have is the Dodgers acquiring Freddie Freeman.
yeah.
And now he's just like superstar celebrity, like flipping bats on grand slams and stuff and winning, World Series. I'm like, God dang it, man, freaking Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But
but
it sounds like you haven't watched the game in a little
no,
while.
no, and that's kind of the point, right? Is like, yeah, I love the Braves, man, I do, but like, what is priority for me? Is priority me spending intentional time, with my kids and going into reading and doing homework and being there for them, or is my priority to flip on a Braves game that like I have no association with, right? I don't own the team, like sure, I love it, it's fun, but my priority right now when my kids are little is going to be on them, and I think that's something a lot of dads struggle with. They say I don't have time. It's like, well, do a time audit, man. Like, what are you doing with your time?
Exactly. Yeah, write it down. Like
Mm,
pen to paper and write it down. Like what are you doing with your time? You have time.
mm,
You just are going to have to give some stuff up. And I'm not one of these guys that's like, dads or men shouldn't watch sports ever.
mm.
There will be a time when I was a Flyer season ticket holder for a bunch of
Yeah,
seasons, you know what I mean? And maybe there will be a time in my future where I go to some damn Phillies games.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe I get season tickets again or something. I don't know, but at this juncture in my life, I have much more important duties.
Mm,
And those duties fulfill me and they're fun.
mm.
You know what I mean? And that's what I want to go all in on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, man, I love that is addition by subtraction, and yeah, 100% guarantee. Like you have time to get the stuff done that you want to do,
Mhm.
whether it comes to fitness or family time. And one thing that we talk about with guys all the time is that, they say like I get back from work and I'm stressed and stuff, and they don't feel like they have the time with their kids. And it's like, all right, well, maybe you only have 30 to 45 minutes a night, and that's just is what it is. But like those 30 to 45 minutes, how intentional are you? Are you looking at your email? Are you looking at social media while you're hanging out with your kids? So it's like you just have to be intentional with the time that you do have and then work to develop that available time. So even if you're not owning your own business, there's plenty of conversations you can have, right? Around production
Mhm.
and around flexibility, like to make sure that you're prioritizing what is number one for you.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what the thing is, man? It always starts with just 10 minutes of time or just 30 minutes of time. Like, it's how it starts.
Mm,
Be intentional with that. You'll realize how rewarding it is, how it makes you feel, and how it makes your kids feel. And then I guarantee you'll try to find more time or try
mm,
to make more time so you can widen that window. It's like, I feel like, a lot of times dads are like, I don't have 2 hours with the way my schedule set up right now. I don't have 2 hours a night to spend with my kids. So like, fuck it. You know what I mean? It's like, no, well, what do you have? Do you have 10 minutes? Okay, make that the best 10 minutes of their day.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you're going to want to try to double that to 20 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
40 minutes. You will figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
but don't just like throw your hands up and say like, this is all I got. I'm tired and stressed. Like, bro, so am I. Do you think do you think we're not like, I'm still in that boat. You know what I mean? I come home and, I'm stressed. Business is hard. It's war. I come home, I'm stressed, and I need to work very hard to flip that switch, to let all that armor fall off,
Mm-hmm.
compartmentalize it, put it in a box where it belongs. You know what I mean? And show my girls and my wife what I call. I had a barber, right? I don't have a barber anymore because I'm bald, but I had a barber. When my first daughter was about to be born. Wise guy, great dude, V. Not with us anymore, unfortunately, but he gave me a great piece of dad advice. He said, everybody tries to make being a dad complex. And really all you need to do is give your kids time and love. And I thought about that and I was like, man, that's like some simple advice. I was like, this doesn't, it's not all that groundbreaking. But as time went on, I understood what he meant. He meant give your kids undivided attention, right? Intention, undivided attention, and unconditional love. That's literally, that's the recipe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's what I try to do, and it's hard, man. It's still difficult to this day, but that's the goal every single day.
Yeah. What do you do to kind of flip that switch to go from, hey, I'm in work zone to now I'm in dad zone, whether that's working at an office or working at home or whatever the case is, to kind of make sure hey, I'm putting things away for the day or for a certain period of time to give that intention? Because I think it's where a lot of guys struggle too sometimes. It's like, especially guys that work from home, and like I'm working from home today.
Yeah.
So like I will struggle with this because as soon as we wrap this podcast, I've got one more meeting and then I go straight into going to get ice cream with the kids. And I don't have that decompression time, right, on a commute and things like that. So like, what are some practical things that you do to change your mindset there?
Yeah, I mean, definitely boundaries. So I'm pretty ruthless with my calendar. And again, like if you're going to be ruthless with your calendar and say like, I do this from this time to this time, I do this from this time to this time, that only works when it's in big blocks. So if you're trying to do everything and you're trying to be the best sports fan and you're trying to hang out with the boys and you're trying to do all this, it ain't going to work. So addition by subtraction, I distilled it down to the things that I know will make an impact on my family and the world, right? And the one thing that sets me up to do that, which is jujitsu, right? So it's the addition by subtraction. And then literally I time block. I say, okay, like, if you go through my calendar, you'll see it. This is my day. Every day looks the same. I have business between these hours, family between these hours, jiu-jitsu between these hours. Jiu-jitsu is every day at 11 a.m. It's the same time. Before that, it's work. After jiu-jitsu, it's work. Up until I go pick my girls up. Then there's a big block of family time. Then it's work again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really the boundaries. And it's hard, man. Like creating distance and really engineering your environment during that family time. So putting the phone in another room, putting the phone in a drawer, not taking my laptop out of my bag when I get home. Things like those little things to just engineer your environment as reminders of what you should be doing during that time are huge. And the other thing, I could work from home easily every single day, but I don't. I come in HQ.
Yeah. And I think that's a good approach, man. It is. Nothing that like I don't like working from home, and I don't do it all the time. But I think like the ideal setup would be cool, man. I work 5 minutes down the road. Right. So you can have that actual physical separation, because there is something about like, I need to get in the car and drive to my house, take a deep breath. And now I transition from, work zone to now I'm in dad zone. Right. And like you open that door and you're dad now.
Exactly. It's the engineering of your environment. It's the same type of thing. You're changing physical locales. You know what I mean? And that helps you change the energy that you need to give off. Like I'm not bringing this intense energy when I first walk in the door. I'm bringing receiving. Tell me about your day. Tell me about your world. Tell me about your work. Tell me about your worries. Like tell me about those things. Like I'm receiving first. I'm not coming in the door like blah 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 blah. Some days I am. My wife checks me. I'm an intense dude, but Yeah, the physical environment is a big, or the ability to change physical environment to trigger, that change is huge.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm here. The other thing, I'm at HQ as often as possible.
Yeah, I would say there was some book that I read. I forget the name of it now, but it was something about identity. And it was about you have these different identities and kind of like outfits you can put on throughout the day, and it's very big on time blocking too, because we like to lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that we can multitask and do 6 different things at once. But like, you're not going to be effective at any of them. And so I think, yeah, you have to not only be effective with your time, but also be effective about your intention of the identity that you're putting on. Right. And so like, hey, I'm in work zone. I am work Drew right now. Right. Yep. But like, yeah, like you said, this energy, this clothing I'm wearing right now is going to change significantly as soon as I shut the laptop down and I go upstairs, and I have to have some type of mechanism that makes that happen. And for me, even if it's like not a physical drive, I think just taking the time to, even just take a few deep breaths, man, just like, all right, work day is done.
Yep.
Recalibrate. All right, let's go dad zone, So that's like one thing, is having those separate identities. And then the other thing I was going to talk through was about, this is very, very tactical. But I pretty much always have my phone on do not disturb, like almost at all times. And I miss some things for sure, right? I miss some phone calls and stuff, but like, hey, if it's important, you'll call me twice, brother, But what that does is that helps me be intentional with that time I have with the family. So my watch isn't buzzing like every fucking 5 seconds, distracting me. So there's a lot of like very tactical things you can do to create that environment.
Yeah, I'm in do not disturb all the time. Yeah. 24/7, 365.
Me too,
and you're
brother.
Right. I miss some things, but life is much better. How, if I can ask you a question.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been in like mixed company or a different environment where somebody's phone is there that's not in do not disturb, and it's on, like the sound's on, and the thing is going off like every
ding,
3 minutes.
Ding.
Oh my God, it's buzzing.
Like, will you shut that up, dude?
And then you see the screen light up, and like it's just like like all these notifications. I sit there and I'm like, oh my God! Like at one point that was me. How can you even have a coherent
How do you function?
thought?
Yeah. How do you like concentrate for more than 5 fucking seconds at a time?
Oh my God.
And this was big for me, man, a big shift. Cause like I would do it like during work. I would like, all right, like blocks of work. I'd be like, okay, for this next hour, I'm gonna turn on do not disturb or whatever. And then like I would find like, okay, now I go upstairs and my fucking watch buzzes every 5 seconds, right? Like literally it's like bang, bang, email, fucking text message, whatever. And I'm like trying to have a conversation with my family. And I was like, God damn, dude, I'm just fucking turning this shit off. And I've left it in do not disturb pretty much 24/7. It's been like a game changer.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I used to back in the day, I was very selective with my notifications on the phone.
Yeah.
So most of them were off, but I still had some apps that could send me the notifications. And Drew, my cousin, he was always like, dude, do not disturb, do not disturb. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to miss this call. I'm going to miss that. Now I'm full do not disturb mode, man. I
know, dude. It's the best thing I've ever done.
If I could communicate, I'm going to be that entrepreneur that you hear stories about in about 10 years where like, I don't use email.
Yeah, no email.
You got to call me on a landline, or like, I'm going to have like an eagle or some type of raptor that's going to be like sending messages back and forth.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. I think Tucker Carlson does that. And I like some of the stuff Tucker says. I don't, which it's fine. He seems like a good dude. But one of his insights was like, he was like, yeah, I don't use email. And I forget who's interviewed him. They're like, what do you mean? He was like, no, I don't use email. And they're like, well, how do people like talk to you? He's like, well, it's important enough you'll get my landline. Like he doesn't even like do cell phone. It's like that's a great way to look at it, man.
That's where I'm trying to go, man. The best moments in my life are when I'm not solo dolo on my phone. Like I've never can say one of the most magical moments I've had in life is when I stare at my phone.
Yeah.
It's not true. So, you know what I mean? I'm definitely trying to get there. We certainly have the HQ to bring the community together. We got the room to fit everybody. So I'm not going to miss anything on the gram.
Yeah.
Everybody can just come here and we can hang out and kick it.
Yeah.
Like real humans.
Hey guys, interrupting the show for 1 minute to ask you a question. If the future you 40 years from now looked at you right now, looked at the way you're showing up, looked at the energy you're bringing to your family, looked at the way you are leading,
looked at your physical shape, looked at the habits, routines, and disciplines you have, looked at your vices, would he be proud? Or would he be shaking you violently, trying to get you to wake up and take control of your life? If you feel stuck in a rut, can't get motivated, I understand. I've been there. That is why I created the Epic Dad Fit program. Our goal inside the Fit program is to radically change your life as a father in just 90 days by helping you develop an unshakable foundation of discipline and habits, get you into the best shape of your life, and provide massive community and accountability to ensure you are successful. If you're ready to radically change your life as a father in just 90 days, hit the link in the show notes and apply today. All right, back to the show. Yeah. Well, dude,
Yeah.
let's shift back to your daughters, man. So I've got two as well, about the same age. And a big challenge for me, and I think it probably is for all girl dads, is there's this delicate balance between I want to take care of my girls. I want to provide for them, give them everything they would ever want, right? Give them love, comfort, nurturing. But on the flip side of that coin is, hey, I'm not going to be there always, right? Like they're going to have to go out in the world and do this themselves. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's very hard to square, and create that balance. And so like, what are some ways that you being a girl dad have thought of, like, how do I create that struggle for them? How do I make it so, to your point, so they can choose their hard later on in life and have not have everything handed to them,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's something that's a struggle for girl dads for sure. I struggle with it. Like, one day I'll be like, tell my wife, the girls are too spoiled. They're just too spoiled. But I know that's not the truth. They're just being kids. I've tried to inject real life struggle
Mm.
into their lives since they were little. So like my oldest, when she turned maybe 4, I would send her into, and this might sound a little crazy, but I would send her into the coffee shop by herself
Yeah.
with like a $10 bill.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd stand outside and look through the window.
Yeah. You got your eyes on her. Yeah.
I would send her in herself to, go over, grab the chocolate milk, put it on the counter, give the person the money, get the change back. Like, try to inject that distance and that struggle to show them that, unfortunately, I'm not going to be here. My wife's not going to be here all the time. That's the way life works,
Mm-hmm.
and that there's going to come a time where they're going to have to stand on their own too.
Mm-hmm.
So I just try to create those teachable moments and inject a little bit of struggle into their life. I don't steal their problems.
Yep.
I try my very best not to steal their problems. I steer them. I don't steal from them. And that can go from something like homework, all the way to like a social interaction, maybe at school with like students, their age, whatever. I never say, hey, do this. It's always a question. What do you think you should do? Why do you think you should do that? And again, like, it doesn't sound too hard, but it is. I mean, that's their brains that are still forming, have to process all that and think through it. And I want to get them into the habit of thinking and not just being fed.
I love that, dude.
Thoughts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that, man.
Yeah.
I'll 100% agree with that. One thing we've done, I'm curious to know if you guys have done it as a family, is we're really big on like values, and like, hey, what do we stand for? What hills are we gonna die on? And also we're big on identity, like as a family, like what defines us. And so that's something that I preach to them ever since they were little. And I'll just kind of tell this quick little story because I think it segues nicely. Is our identity as a family is very simple, and it's crafted that way because I have little kids. But it's the camps are kind, the camps are brave, and the camps are strong.
Love it.
And that's something that I reinforce literally every day with them.
Yeah.
Whether it's like dropping them off at school, I'm like, hey, who are you? They're like, I'm camp. And I'm like, cool, what do camps do? And they're like, well, we do the right things, the right things, the hard things and the fun things. And so, it creates a pattern in their head. But even more than that, I think is once you have that identified, I would highly encourage dads listening to have something like that and reinforce that to your kids. But even more than just reinforcing it and having defined is giving them opportunities to see that in themselves, right? So it's not just kind of like them saying it. And so the story I was going to tell is we were on vacation last year. We went down to Punta Cana as a big family, our extended family. And it was a great trip. And there's just like little kids water park that they were all playing at. And then there's kind of like a medium-sized water park. It's like, not quite like the straight down ones, but like a little step up.
Yeah. Step up. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was one that was like straight down for like a half a second, and it was pretty big. And my oldest daughter, she was scared to do it. And she came up, just like, man, I was like, hey, are you going to go to that water park? And she's like, no, I don't think so. She's like, that one looks a little scary. And like, literally the only thing I said to her was like, all right, well, you're a camp and the camps are brave. So, all right. It was like all I said to her. And then she went and disappeared for like an hour. And she came back and she was like, I did it. And she was like, I was just telling myself the camps are brave. And I was like, yes. I was like, that is it. I was like, it's not just saying it. It's like giving you opportunities to show yourself that you are brave.
Yes, I love that, man. I love that. And I also like how you were kind of just like nonchalant about it. You were like, well, camps are brave. So that's the way to do it. Because if you make it like a thing.
Yeah. If you like make her and force her to do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, if you make her or force her to do it, or you say, well, I understand it's really high. It's super scary. Somebody got injured on it probably before. Like, you can't make it a thing. You just have to be like, look, the camps are brave.
Yeah. Because I want her to self-identify, and she has to do it herself. Yeah. So it's awesome. And that's something we've done like in conversations too, like bedtime conversations. Like instead of just telling them like, all right, good night, you're brave, you're kind, you're strong. It's just like, okay, hey, like tell me about something you did today that was kind. And forcing them to like look at themselves and say, this is what I did. I am kind. Like I am because that's what I've done. It's just been really huge for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that, man. I love that. I've never sat down and said, hey, look, like these are our family pillars. Like, these things. We more so have exercises that we go through similar to what we're doing to reinforce values and then help them identify with those values. When my oldest was younger, every once in a while she'll want to do it and like makes me cry when she wants to do it. But when she was younger, we had what we called the mantra.
Okay.
So it was somewhat similar. And every night before bed, she would say, I'm smart, I'm strong, I'm beautiful. And then I'd say, what are you afraid of? And she'd say, nothing. And I'd say, what's the goal? And she's like, to be independent. And I'm like, how do we reach our goal? She's like, hard work. So it was like a little back and forth thing that we used to do. Now that she's older, we don't do it as much. But one thing we do at the dinner table every night, damn near every night. Some nights we miss. We're not perfect. Damn near every night, we go through 4 questions. And everybody, all 4 of us around the table, me, my wife, my daughters. First question is, what'd you work hard on today? Right? So, my youngest for like a solid year, coloring was the answer, like every day. Coloring. I'm like, all right, I'm going to let you get away with this because you're like 3. We're going to let you get away with this. So the first question is, what did you work hard on? Second question is, what made you happy today? And I asked those 2 questions for a reason, because I want them to tie hard work and happiness together.
Get fulfillment from the work.
Exactly. So they're the first 2 questions. And then coincidentally, even though I don't believe in coincidence, the next questions are, were you kind to everybody? And then the last question is, was everybody kind to you? So that the first kindness question, were you kind to everybody? Like, how did you show up in the world? Did you serve others? Did you help others? Did you lift people up instead of putting them down? Right? To make sure that they know that that's important. And then the last question, was everybody kind to you? Is more of an opportunity for them to air out something that happened to them, throughout the day, a worry that they have, or maybe a bully messed with them or something like that. So we can have a constructive conversation about it. Something that, didn't make them feel like they were strong, smart, beautiful, curious, confident, courageous. So to give them that opportunity. So that's a little exercise we do every night. And some great things come out of it.
Yeah.
Like, my favorite is when the answer to the hard work and the answer to the happy is the same thing. Because then I'm like,
there we go. Yeah.
I'm like, you know why that is, right?
Yeah. No, dude, the dinner table is such a good opportunity, man, for dads to actually like step up and lead and not just be like, all right, let's have the ball game on in the background or whatever, like, no, dude, like turn the phones off, turn the TV off, like have a conversation with your kids. yeah, that's where you're going to have that connection at. And you've got the opportunity more often than not, just about every single night, you know?
Yeah. And you have a, a day that is rich with different types of experiences that you can talk through and you can learn together.
Mm,
What did great, what didn't go so hot, what you want to change, even at that young age.
mm,
You know what I mean? Forgot your homework book tonight. Like, you know what I mean? Not a good thing. Like, we got to change that, Um, so yeah, we haven't really sat down and said like these are our pillars, but we are definitely anti-lazy.
yeah.
So if my girls hear two things from me outside of those, that exercise, they hear we are not lazy and we always try. Like every achievement in life begins with trying. Your achievement, my achievement, the guy next door's achievement, it all starts with a try. So if there's two things they hear from me, it's like, look, have you tried?
Mm,
Like if they come to me and they say, hey, look, this, that, or the other thing, I don't understand this problem. First thing out of my mouth is, how many times have you tried?
mm.
You know? And then if there is an instance where there's, a little bit of like, hemming and hawing or complaining, they get a reminder that like bones aren't lazy. Like that's one thing we're not.
Mm.
You know what I mean? When sometimes they'll be like, hey, we're also not perfect, but we're definitely not lazy. You know?
Yeah. No, I love the last question that you asked too about, who wasn't kind to you or what's something that happened that wasn't kind. Because I think it reinforces two really good things. One on the front end is you tie in hard work and fulfillment together, which I think is fantastic. I love that. And then the last piece is you tie in that, hey, we're always going to be kind, but the world is not fair, right?
Yep.
And you can't expect it to be fair. And so it allows them to see that, hey, even though I am putting forth kindness out in the world, that's not always going to be reflected back to me. And I have to be okay with that. Right.
Yeah.
And I
For
think
sure.
that's something kids get challenged with a lot. Um,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
love that.
They need to know that, good and evil exist.
Mm,
You know what I mean? And that's another way. That's another way to say it. Like if somebody wasn't kind to them, and it's happened, often, even at that young age, that conversation has come up around the dinner table. It's never about tearing that other person down for them not being kind. First, it's what could we do in the
mm,
situation? And then second, it's how can we understand maybe, why they're acting the way that they did, and for like an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, they're pretty like sometimes the conversations get a little deep, but my girls are kind of like old souls. Like I was always an old soul,
mm.
you know? So it works for us.
Yeah. The last thing I want to ask about girl dad stuff too, get your perspective on, man, is I think and we've already talked a little bit about culture, right? But I think
Mhm.
it's even more important for us as fathers to daughters to be cognizant of that, and
Yeah.
really pour into them to create that self confidence and that self worth, because fuck man, with social media and all the stupid shit going on right now, like there's so many external sources that they can seek validation from, when like what they
Hmm.
really need to be concerned with is like, are you proud of yourself and what you're doing? And so,
Sure.
and I think again, it's not that it's more important. It's just, it's stressed differently with daughters. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to know kind of what are some things that you do, to create that self-worth for them, so they're not really tied to like, what do other people think of me?
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to some of those questions that
Yeah.
I asked them. It goes back to the hard work. Like I make sure that they're doing, and it sounds wild for an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, but I make sure that they're doing work on a daily basis that's going to make them proud of
Mm,
themselves. You know what I mean? And then I make sure that I reinforce it. I never praise them for what's required. I never do that. But I heavily praise them when they do great work.
mm,
And that could be schoolwork, or that could be something kind they did for their friend, or that could be holding the door for somebody. Like my youngest now, I was, a couple of times she held the door, on her own, just completely her
mm,
own will, held the door for like multiple people. And I like praised her to the high heaven. I was like, look, I was like, what you're doing is super kind. And in society right now, it's dying.
mm.
Like people are letting doors slam in other people's faces. What you're doing is super kind, and I'm really proud of you. Now she holds, dude. We go to a store,
She's
she'll
like,
hold
come
the
on in,
door for
come
like
on in.
25
Yeah.
minutes.
You
She'll
down there
hold
in
the
the
door
parking
for
lot. Come on in. Come on in. Yeah.
she's like a greeter. You know what I mean? She's like a greeter. So I do heavily praise them when I see them do something that aligns with who the Bowens are.
Mm,
But I make sure that I never praise them for what's required, because that's where, entitlement creeps in, And I have candid conversations with them about perfect, how it doesn't exist. I have candid conversations with them, like, if somebody's not kind to them, what could we do in this situation? But you also need to understand that, like, you know, that person that's unkind to you may not feel great about themselves. And that's why it's important to feel good about yourself and have a high level of self-worth. If they were older, I'd say your work instills your worth, but they're not ready for that yet. You know what I mean? So I just make sure that they're, I set them up to do some great work so that I can praise them.
Yeah.
And build their worth. Like, I look for those opportunities.
Yeah. Very cool,
man.
Man.
In a day. Yeah.
Very cool, man. Well, last question I have for you around all that stuff is, like, at the end of the day, man, like, building businesses, production, working hard, it's all very important. But I think at the end of the day, like when I do this exercise, I look at the end of my life and, like, I am at my deathbed, right? And I've got my kids by my side. And it's like, what do I want them to say about me? Like, it's really two options. I had a buddy of mine, Alex Wassam, on the show previously, and he told me about this exercise. I'm like, damn, that's fucking powerful. Of really envisioning that and being like, is what I'm doing right now important enough that I want them to talk about it at my funeral?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
man, that's a tough one. Is that the question? What do I want them to say to me?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. I don't even know. I don't even know if I could get through this, man. Man, that's an excellent question. I don't even know if I can get through it without losing it.
I'm already crying, dude. I'm already crying thinking about it.
You brought it.
I can't even get through the question without crying.
It's a good thing we're singing from the same hymnal, dude, because, like, you invited the crier to the show today, dude. I really, man, I don't, you got me, man. You got me. What comes to me first, I don't even know if I can do it, man. I think it would be I don't want to thank you. You know what I mean? I think I want. It's tough, man. I think I would like them to say, him. You're gonna have to edit this out. It's a long pause. I think what I'd like them to say is, I miss you. I'll miss you.
That's a powerful question, man.
I know, man. I know. I want to use this on somebody else and completely fuck them up in the future. I think that I think that what I would want them to say is, I'll miss you, but you can go because I'm going to be okay.
Fuck yeah, dude. That is exactly when I had Alex on and kind of walked through this exercise. Those are the two choices, man. It is, Dad, you didn't do enough for me, right?
Yeah.
Or, and fuck, man, you got me going now too. Or it is, thank you, but I'm good.
Yep.
I got it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that's kind of what came to me first. Like, the whole, like, thank you, I'm prepared type thing. But, like, that's not really what I want to hear. Selfishly, I would want to hear, and this is just me being real and raw, like, I would want to hear, I'm going to miss you.
Yeah.
But then I want that immediately followed up with, but, like, you can go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. It's
I'm gonna give you credit in the future when I use that on a girl dad, and I'm gonna credit you and your friend, and I'm gonna completely fuck them up. I'm gonna pay that forward because it's so powerful.
It is, man. It really is. And sorry to, like, drop a hardcore question on you, man, but, like,
No.
it's just so important, man. Like we have to tie back what we're doing day to day to what is the fucking reason we're doing it in the first place,
Yeah, dude.
right? And
Yeah,
we get caught up so much in like the stupid day to day bullshit, and like at the end of the day, like ask yourself the question, like when I am on my deathbed, is what I'm doing right now going to help my daughters answer that question the way that I want it to be answered?
yep, for sure,
You
for
know,
sure, man, for sure. It all goes back to intention, and that's something that from the very beginning. If there's one thing like I could point to that has helped us build Fuel Hunt to what it is today, it's intention.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So it's not just applicable to the family, it's applicable to self and to business. Intention. Like, is what I'm doing in this moment, does it matter? Does it matter for
doesn't
my
matter.
long-term
Yeah.
vision, for my family, for, myself, my business? So, yeah, man, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Well, Joe, what's on deck for Fuel Hunt, man? I mean, you guys are obviously, crushing it,
Yeah.
but business is tough, but you guys are crushing it, man. Like what's kind of on the roadmap?
Yeah, man, we got a lot of great things coming. We got beginning of the year. Well, we're going to close the year off strong. We've got a lot of huge drop, maybe the largest drop in company history
Do you guys do
coming.
it like that? You do kind of like, hey, this is a limited, we're doing a drop. Hey, get it.
We do
Yeah.
so we do releases. Yeah, we do releases. We'll do releases twice a month.
Okay.
We used to do bigger releases. We started doing just like smaller releases. I like doing them because I pull a lot of inspiration from the community, and that's how I create. So it gives me the opportunity to not do something that's like big and planned. It gives me the opportunity to create something.
Yeah. Like,
and
hey,
work
here's
with
a
the
nugget
team.
of inspiration. Let's make it happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's put it out. For this month, we're doing something special though. Big release, probably the biggest one that we've ever done. So that's super exciting. December, we have a really exciting collaboration. This is exclusive. I can't give all the details, but December we have a really exciting collaboration with a community member that has recently actually moved into HQ. He's moved his business into Fuel Hunt HQ. So we have an exciting collaboration
Very
with
cool.
him. New product we've never released before in December. In January, we have a very exciting collaboration with another very well-known American-made manufacturer of clothing and jujitsu
I think I know who
gear.
it is.
Yeah, so
that'll be
that's
dope,
coming.
dude.
That's coming in January, which is amazing. February, we have another collaboration coming with another huge American-made company that aligns with hunting and the kitchen.
Okay.
So I get,
Oh,
you know what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah, I think I
And
know who that is
product,
too.
another American-made company. So you can see what's going on here. Like a lot of what we have coming up are collaborations with companies that are on the same mission that we are, not only to restore the dignity of hard work, but also to restore American manufacturing.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got a lot of that coming up. Hasn't even been announced yet. In December, we're closing off the year with a huge grappling seminar in right outside of Philly.
Very cool.
Here. So with some big names. So, we're always cooking.
Yeah.
We are always cooking, always doing big things to, inspire and support the community.
Yeah. Well, I love it, dude. I love watching your story, the growth of it, man. Where is the best place for people to go to connect with Fuel Hunt? And then where's the best place for them to go connect with you?
Yeah. For Fuel Hunt on Instagram or fuelhunt.com. And then I am Joey Digital on Instagram. You can also find me in Fuel Hunt Rise. So we have a private community, Fuel Hunt community. So if you're in there, you can actually like book calls with me and stuff, whether it's business or personal stuff, and we can up. So most of my calendar space is reserved for our Rise members. But over email, like you said, you get my emails. So you can always get me over email, but it's crowded in the inbox sometimes.
Yeah,
so
dude. I think I have. Last time I looked, let me look right now. I think I have 10,000 unread in my my business email. 10,473 unread messages. So if you guys sent me an email here recently, I'll get to it. It might take a little while.
I set aside a couple hours in my second work block of the day. I set aside a couple hours 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I knocked down 2,500 emails.
Dude, good for you, man.
So
good for you.
So I'm like, I'm knocking it down. Trust me, the number's bigger than 2,500, but I knocked down 2,500. I felt great. I was like, this is good.
Yeah.
So I got probably another 2,500 to go, but we'll get there.
Well, Joey, dude, thank you for coming on, man. Like I said, when I knew about Fuel Hunt, but when I kind of connected with you at the BK event, I was like, this guy's cut from the same cloth, man. Like we, love to have a conversation about it. So I appreciate you coming on and getting raw with us.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, man. Great to jam, and don't apologize, man. That moment that you gave me at the end of this show here is going to stay with me for life. It's going to make me a better dad. So thank you.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll say this, guys, to wrap up, is two things. So one, drop down, leave us a review, right? That's going to help this message reach, a wider audience and help us on our mission to create better dads. And then two is, if you got value from this episode, like this one with Joey, I know you did, so it's a requirement, is fucking share this show with one other dad in your network. Because you never know what's going on with somebody, man. You never do. And what the value that was dropped on this episode might be what another dad needs to turn the corner, to start, start down the path of personal development and creating change, and being the leader that his family needs. So share this episode. And that's the two requirements. Leave us a review, share the episode. Joey, thanks again for coming on, man. Let's stay connected, brother. Looking forward to the drops and keeping track.
Sounds good. Thank you, brother.
All right, guys.
Talk soon.
We will see you on the next episode.
Thank you so much for listening to the show and supporting my mission to change the culture by creating more epic dads. If this message resonates with you and you're ready to become the husband, father, and man you're called to be, here's 2 quick things you can do to get started. Number 1 is to join the Epic Dad training app. Inside the Epic Dad app, you'll find workout programs, community, habits, accountability, courses, resources, and exclusive discounts on all Epic Dad supplements and gear. It has everything you need to start leveling up as a dad. Just hit the link in the show description and get your first 7 days free. And if you're ready to turbocharge your results and create massive change in your life, hit the link in the show description and apply to the Epic Dad Fit program. Our goal inside the FIT program is to radically change your life in just 90 days by helping you develop an unshakable foundation of discipline and habits, get you into the best shape of your life, and provide massive community and accountability to ensure you are successful. If you're ready to radically change your life as a father in just 90 days, hit the link in the show notes and apply today. Thanks for listening. Now go be epic.